Tuberculosis. Although tuberculosis can affect all systems in the body, in the tropical world the surgeon is most often faced with tuberculosis affecting the cervical lymph nodes and the small intestine. Therefore, in this chapter tuberculous cervical lymphadenitis and tuberculosis of the small bowel will be described. Tuberculous cervical lymphadenitis. Introduction. Figure 6.33 Plain radio. This is common in the Indian subcontinent. A young person who has recently arrived from an endemic area, presenting with cervical lymphadenopathy, should be diagnosed as having tuberculous lymphadenitis unless otherwise proven. With acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, being globally prevalent, this is not as rare in the West in the indigenous population as it used to be. Diagnosis. Any of the cervical group of lymph nodes, jugulodegastric, submandibular, supraclavicular, posterior triangle, can be involved. The patient has the usual general manifestations of tuberculosis, evening pyrexia, cough may be from pulmonary tuberculosis, and malaise. If the sufferer is a child, failure to thrive is a significant offending. Locally there will be regional lymphadenopathy where the lymph nodes may be matted. In late stages a cold abscess may form, a painless, fluctuant mass which is not warm. Significantly there are no signs of inflammation, figure 6.34, hence it is called a cold abscess. This is a clinical manifestation of underlying caseation. Left untreated, the cold abscess, initially deep to the deep fascia, bursts through into the space just beneath the superficial fascia. This produces a billicular mass with cross fluctuation. This is called a collar stud abscess. Eventually this may burst through the skin, discharging pus and forming a tuberculous sinus and eventually might ulcerate, figure 6.35. The latter typically has watery discharge with undermined edges as the tubercle bacilli destroy the subcutaneous tissue faster than the rest and thrive in the relatively anoxic environment. Investigations. Raised ESR and CRP, low hemoglobin and a positive MAN2 test are usual, although the last is not significant in a patient from an endemic area. The MAN2 test, tuberculin skin test, although in use for over 100 years, has now been superseded by interferon gamma, IFN gamma, release assays. This is an in vitro blood test of cellular immune response. Antigens unique to M. tuberculosis are used to stimulate and measure T cell release of IFN gamma. This helps to earmark patients who have latent or subclinical tuberculosis and thus will benefit from treatment. Sputum for culture and sensitivity, the result may take several weeks, and staining by the Zale-Nielsen method for acid-fast bacilli, the result is obtained much earlier, should be carried out. Specificity investigations would include aspiration of the pus from a cold abscess for culture and sensitivity. If the mass is still in the early stages of adenitis, excision biopsy should be done. Here, part of the lymph nodes should be sent fresh and unfixed to the laboratory, which should be warned of the arrival of the specimen so that the tissue can be appropriately processed immediately. Tuberculous cervical lymphadenitis filled circle. This is a common condition at any age. Filled circle, a matted lymph nodal mass is the typical clinical feature. Filled circle, in later stages the mass may be cystic, denoting an abscess. Filled circle, the abscess denotes underlying caseation and does not show any features of inflammation, hence called a cold abscess. Filled circle, ultimately the abscess may burst, forming a sinus. Filled circle diagnosis is clinched by culture of pus and biopsy of the lymph node. Filled circle involvement of other systems must be excluded. Filled circle treatment is mainly medical. Treatment. This must be combined management between the physician and the surgeon. Tuberculous infection at other sites must be excluded and suitably managed. Medical treatment is the mainstay. The reader is asked to look up details of medical treatment in an appropriate source. Tuberculosis of small intestine. Introduction. Infection by M. tuberculosis is common in the tropics. In these days of international travel and increased migration, tuberculosis in general and intestinal tuberculosis in particular are no longer clinical curiosities in non-endemic countries. Any patient, particularly one who has recently arrived from an endemic area and who has features of generalized ill health and altered bowel habit, should arouse suspicion for intestinal tuberculosis. The increased prevalence of human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, infection worldwide has also made tuberculosis more common. The infection is transmitted by swallowing of infected sputum in a patient with pulmonary tuberculosis, by drinking infected unpasteurized milk or by a hematogenous route. Pathology. There are two types, ulcerative and hyperplastic. In both types, there may be marked mesenteric lymphadenopathy. Filled circle ulcerative type. The organism colonizes the lymphatics of the terminal ileum, causing transverse ulcers with typical undermined edges. The serosa is usually studded with tubercles. Histology shows casseting granuloma with giant cells, figure 6.36. This pathological entity, referred to as the ulcerative type, denotes a severe form of the disease in which the virulence of the organism overwhelms. Host resistance. The ulcers healed by fibrosis and transverse ulcers lead to multiple strictures that may present later with luminal narrowing and intestinal obstruction. Filled circle hyperplastic type. This occurs when host resistance has the upper hand over the virulence of the organism. There is a marked inflammatory reaction causing hyperplasia and thickening of the terminal ileum because of its abundance of lymphoid follicles, thus resulting in narrowing of the lumen obstruction. Macroscopically, this type may be confused with Crohn's disease. Ileocecal tuberculosis, figure 6.37, may present with a right iliac fossa mass and features of intestinal obstruction. As a result of fibrosis, there is shortening of the bowel with the cecum being pulled up into a subhepatic position with resultant widening of the ileocecal angle beyond 90 degrees. Tuberculosis. Pathology. Filled circle increasingly being seen in non-endemic areas, mostly among immigrants from endemic areas. Filled circle. Two types are recognized, ulcerative and hyperplastic. Filled circle. The ulcerative type occurs when the virulence of the organism is greater than the host defense and forms strictures. Filled circle. The opposite occurs in the hyperplastic type and presents with a mass. Filled circle. Small bowel strictures are common in the ulcerative type, presenting with obstructive symptoms, while the hyperplastic type mainly affects the ileocecal area and presents with a right iliac fossa mass and obstructive symptoms. Filled circle. In peritoneal tuberculosis, the parietal and visceral peritoneum is studded with tubercles. Filled circle. Localized areas of ascites, loculated, depicts peritoneal involvement. Filled circle. Encasement of bowel in a fibrotic sac, cocoon, may be seen in the plastic type of peritoneal tuberculosis, which presents with obstruction. Filled circle. The lungs and other organs, particularly of the genitourinary system, may also be involved simultaneously. Clinical features. Patients present electively with weight loss, chronic cough, malaise, evening rise in temperature with sweating, vague abdominal pain with distension and alternating constipation and diarrhea. As an emergency, they present with features of distal small bowel obstruction from strictures of the small bowel, particularly the terminal ileum. Rarely, a patient may present with features of peritonitis from perforation of a tuberculous ulcer in the small bowel, figure 6.37. Examination shows a chronically ill patient with a DOE. Figure 6.36. Histology of ileocecal tuberculosis showing epithelioid cell granule. Feel to the abdomen from areas of localized ascites. In the hyperplastic type, a mass may be felt in the right iliac fossa. In addition, some patients may present with fistula in ano, which is typically multiple with undermined edges and watery discharge. As this is a disease mainly seen in certain resource-poor countries, patients may present late as an emergency from intestinal obstruction. Abdominal pain and distension, constipation and bilious and feculent vomiting are typical of such a patient, who is usually in extremis. There may be involvement of other systems, such as the genitourinary tract, when the patient complains of frequency of micturition. Clinical examination does not show any abnormality. The genitourinary tract should then be investigated. Tuberculosis. Clinical features. Filled circle intestinal tuberculosis should be suspected in any patient from an endemic area who presents with weight loss, malaise, evening fever, cough, alternating constipation and diarrhea and intermittent abdominal pain with distension. Filled circle. The abdomen has a doughy feel. A mass may be found in the right iliac fossa. Filled circle. The emergency patient presents with features of distal small bowel obstruction, abdominal pain, distension, bilious and feculent vomiting. Filled circle. Peritonitis from a perforated tuberculous ulcer in the small bowel can be another emergency presentation, though rare. Investigations. General investigations are the same as those for suspected tuberculosis anywhere in the body. They have been detailed in the previous section under investigations for tuberculous cervical adenitis. A barium meal and follow-through, or small bowel enema, shows strictures of the small bowel, particularly the ileum, typically with a high subhepatic cecum with the narrow ileum entering the cecum directly from below upwards in a straight line rather than at an angle, figures 6.38 and 6.39a. Laparoscopy reveals the typical picture of tubercles on the bowel serosa, multiple strictures, a high cecum, enlarged lymph. Nodes, areas of caseation and ascites. Culture of the ascitic fluid may be helpful. A chest radiograph is essential, figure 6.39b, as there may be features of pulmonary tuberculosis. If the patient complains of urinary symptoms, urine is sent. Stricture in the terminal ileum. Perforation. For microscopy and culture, the offending of sterile puria should alert the clinician to the possibility of tuberculosis of the urinary tract, when the appropriate investigations should be done. A flexible cystoscopy would be very useful in the presence of sterile puria. A contracted bladder, thimble, bladder, with ureteric orifices that are indrawn, golf hole, ureter, may be seen. These changes are due to fibrosis. In the patient presenting as an abdominal emergency, urea. Figure 6.37 emergency limit. And electrolytes may show evidence of gross dehydration. A plain abdominal radiograph shows typical small bowel obstruction, valvular connivence, concertina effect, of dilated jejunum and featureless ileum with evidence of fluid between the loops. Intestinal tuberculosis. Investigations. Filled circle. Raised inflammatory markers, anemia and positive sputum culture. Filled circle. IF and gamma release assays for subclinical infection. Filled circle. Ultrasonography of the abdomen may show localized areas of ascites. Filled circle. Chest radiograph shows pulmonary infiltration. Filled circle. Barium meal and follow-through shows multiple small bowel strictures particularly in the ileum, with a subhepatic cecum. Filled circle. If symptoms warrant, the genitourinary tract is also investigated. Treatment. On completion of medical treatment, the patient's small bowel is reimaged to look for significant strictures. If the patient has features of subacute intermittent obstruction, bowel resection, in the form of limited ileocolic resection with anastomosis between the terminal ileum and ascending colon for ileocolic hyperplastic disease, stricturoplasty for single ileal stricture, bowel resection for multiple closely placed strictures, or right hemicolectomy for extensive ileocolic disease precluding limited resection, is performed as deemed appropriate. The surgical principles and options in the elective patient are very similar to those for Crohn's disease, where resections should be kept as conservative as possible. The emergency patient presents a great challenge. Such a patient is usually from a poor socioeconomic background, hence the late presentation of acute, distal, small bowel obstruction. The patient is extremely ill from dehydration, malnutrition, anemia, and probably active pulmonary tuberculosis. Vigorous resuscitation should precede the operation. At laparotomy, the minimum life-saving procedure is carried out, such as a resection of diseased segment with proximal ileostomy and distal ileal or colonic mucus fistula to avoid anastomosis, which has a high chance of leaking in the presence of active infection and poor general condition. If, however, the general condition of the patient permits, a one-stage resection and anastomosis may rarely be performed. Thereafter, the patient should ideally be under the combined care of the physician and surgeon for a full course of standard multidrug antitubercular chemotherapy, intensive and maintenance phases, and improvement in nutritional status, which may take up to 6 to 12 months. The patient who had a simple bypass procedure is reassessed and, when the disease is no longer active, as evidenced by return to normal infama. TORI markers, weight gain, negative sputum culture, and elective right hemicolectomy is done to remove the blind loop. This may be supplemented with stricturoplasty for short strictures at intervals or resection of a segment with several strictures. Perforation is treated by thorough resuscitation followed by resection of the affected segment. Anastomosis is performed, provided it is regarded as safe to do so, when peritoneal. Contamination is minimal and widespread disease is not encountered. Otherwise, as a FRST stage, resection and ileostomy are performed followed by restoration of bowel continuity as a second stage later on after a full course of antitubercular chemotherapy and improvement in nutritional status.